So this is a guided walkthrough for TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2024 event, day number 11, which is also known as task 17. So the task is called, if you'd like to WPA, press the star key. All right, so this is the much awaited sock miss of Wareville town is just days away. Glitch, the unsung hero, is closing all the doors to Mayor Malware's malicious intentions one by one. However, there is still much to do. McSkitty took a thoughtful breath. Mayor can still find his way in. Glitch smiles confidently. I think I know the last technique he relies on to get into the networks. McSkitty stands up from her chair with a surge of excitement. Let me guess, it's a notorious way to get into a network, a Wi-Fi attack. Glitch nods decisively. Exactly. Let's be one step ahead of the mayor. So, in today's exercise, our learning objectives are: understand what Wi-Fi is, explore its importance for an organization, learn different Wi-Fi attacks, and learn about the WPA, WPA2 cracking attack. All right, so connect to the machine. Before moving forward, review the questions in the connection card shown below. Do we need to start the attack box today? Yes. Do we need to start a VM today? Yes. Are we given credentials to connect directly to the VM via RDP, VNC, or SSH? Yes. So to begin the exercise, we need to start up two VMs. So the first VM we can start by clicking on this Start Machine button over here. And the second VM we need to use to do today's task is we need to start up the attack box, which is a cybersecurity VM that is very similar to Kali Linux, but distinct for some reason. And we can start up that VM by clicking on this button over here at the top of the page called Start Attack Box. Okay, so let's continue on. All right, so what is Wi-Fi? The importance of the internet in our lives is universally acknowledged without the need for any justification. Wi-Fi is the technology that connects our devices to the global network, the internet. This seamless connection to the internet appears to be wireless from our devices, which is true to some extent. Our devices are connected wirelessly to the router, which acts as a bridge between us and the internet, and the router is connected to the internet via a wired connection. To connect to Wi-Fi, we can turn it on from our devices, and it lists all available Wi-Fi networks around us. This list comprises the access points, often the routers, that are broadcasting Wi-Fi signals with a unique SSID, or network name. You can connect to any of these if you know the correct password, also known as a pre-shared key, or PSK. Once you have successfully connected to the network via Wi-Fi, you will be assigned an IP address inside that network, which will uniquely identify you and help you communicate with other devices. It is just like becoming a member of a family assigned with a name that the whole family trusts. The image below shows an example of what connecting to an OK443S SID requiring a PSK password looks like on a typical Windows machine. So this is the name of the network over here. You need to enter the password over here, and then you can connect. With all this discussion on Wi-Fi, it seems like a door to our internet access, and every Wi-Fi connection forms a family of devices. Would you allow somebody you don't know to become a part of your family? Not that easy. Probably because of the privileges a family member has, nobody from outside should ever get those. Wi-Fi's pivotal role in organizations. Most organizations rely on the internet for their business functioning. Using a wired connection for all employees to connect to the internet raises concerns about cost, efficiency, and flexibility at work. So organizations use Wi-Fi for their networks to connect their employees to the internet. As the employees connect to their organization's network, they form a family of interconnected devices. The devices inside the network can communicate with each other and request or respond to any requests. organizations tend to recruit trustworthy and professional employees to avoid any misuse of their privileges inside the network. However, a malicious actor from outside the organization could still see the broadcasted Wi-Fi SSID of the organization's network when they turn their Wi-Fi on. This may not seem like a problem as the attacker does not know the password, but the attacker actually has some other plans as well. Attacks on Wi-Fi. There are several techniques attackers use to exploit Wi-Fi technology. The techniques discussed here are solely for education purposes. Unauthorized attempts to access or compromise networks are illegal and may lead to severe legal consequences. With that in mind, here are some of the most popular techniques. The evil twin attack. In this attack, the attacker creates a fake access point that is a similar name to one of your trusted Wi-Fi access points. Of course, it cannot be the exact same. If the trusted Wi-Fi's name is Home Internet, the attacker creates a fake Wi-Fi access point named Home Internet, or something similar that is difficult to differentiate. The attacker starts with the attacker sending deauthentication packets to all the users connected to their legitimate Wi-Fi access points. The users would face repeated disconnections from the network after this. With frustration, the users are likely to open their Wi-Fi access points list for troubleshooting and will find the attacker's Wi-Fi, and with almost similar name and with greater signal strength, they would go to connect to it, and once connected, the attacker could see all of their traffic to or from the internet. Okay, next one is the rogue access point. The attacker's objective is similar to the one of the evil twin attack. In this attack, the attacker sets up an open Wi-Fi access point near or inside the organization's physical premises to make it available to users with good signal strength. The users inside the organization may accidentally join their network if their devices are set to connect automatically to open Wi-Fi. The attacker can intercept all their communication after the users connect to this rogue access point. Next is the WPS attack. Wi-Fi Protected Setup, WPS, was created to allow users to connect to their Wi-Fi using an 8-digit PIN without remembering complex passwords. However, this 8-digit PIN is vulnerable in some networks due to its insecure configuration. The attack is made by initiating a WPS handshake with the router and capturing the router's response, which contains some data related to the PIN and is vulnerable to brute force attacks. Some of the captured data is brute forced, and the PIN is successfully extracted along with the pre-shared key PSK. Anyways, okay, so the last thing is WPA and WPA2 cracking. So Wi-Fi Protected Access, WPA, was created to secure wireless communication. It uses a strong encryption algorithm. However, the security of this protocol is heavily influenced by the length and complexity of the pre-shared key. While cracking WPA, attackers start by sending deauthentication packets to a legitimate user of the Wi-Fi network. Once the user disconnects, they try to reconnect to the network, and a four-way handshake with the router takes place during this time. Meanwhile, the attacker turns its adapter into monitor mode and captures the handshake. After the handshake is captured, the attacker can crack the password by using brute force or dictionary attacks on the captured handshake file. So McSkitty looks to Glitch and asks, what kind of attack are you thinking of demonstrating, Glitch? Glitch paces back and forth before coming to a sudden stop and says, today I will be showing you how the WPA2 cracking attack works. So WPA2 cracking. As mentioned above, this cracking begins by listening to Wi-Fi traffic to capture the four-way handshake between the device and the access point. Since waiting for a device to connect or reconnect can take some time, the authentication packets are sent to disconnect the client, forcing it to reconnect and initiate a new handshake, which is captured. After the handshake is captured, the attacker can crack the password by using brute force or dictionary attacks on the captured handshake file. Okay, so we're talking about the four-way handshake. The WPA password cracking process involves capturing a Wi-Fi network's handshake to attempt a PSK decryption. First, an attacker places their wireless adapter into monitor mode to scan for networks, then targets a specific network to capture the four-way handshake. Once the handshake is captured, the attacker runs a brute force or dictionary attack using a tool like aircrack-ng to attempt to match a word list against the passphrase. The WPA four-way handshake is a process that helps a client device, like your phone or laptop, and a Wi-Fi router confirm that they both have the right password or pre-shared key before securely connecting. Here's a simplified rundown of what happens. Router sends a challenge. The router or access point sends a challenge to the client asking to prove it knows the network's password without directly sharing it. Client responds with encrypted information. The client takes this challenge and uses a PSK to create an encrypted response that only the router can verify. It also has the correct PSK. Router verifies and sends confirmation. If the router sees the client's response match what it expects, it knows that the client has the right PSK. The router then sends its own confirmation back to the client. Final check and connection established. The client verifies the router's response, and if everything matches, they finish setting up the secure connection. This handshake doesn't directly reveal the PSK itself, but involves encrypted exchanges that depend on the PSK. The vulnerability. The vulnerability lies in the fact that an attacker can capture this four-way handshake if they're listening when a device connects. With the handshake data, they can use it as a basis to attempt offline brute force or dictionary attacks. Essentially, they try different possible passwords and test each one to see if it would produce the captured handshake data, eventually cracking the PSK if they get a match. The practical. On our current SSH session, run the command iwdev. This will show any wireless devices in the configuration that we'll have available for us to use. Okay, so this is the part where we have to connect to the vulnerable machine from the attack box. So let's go back up. So we've got some SSH credentials over here that we need to use to connect to the machine. So inside our attack box terminal here, we're going to click into the terminal and exit. And what we're going to do is we're going to create two terminals to connect to via SSH. So we're going to create one terminal. And I'm going to resize the window. Okay. And then I'm going to make this so that it takes up half the screen. And then I'm going to create another terminal window. So this other terminal window is going to take up the other half of the screen. And in both of these windows, we're going to connect to the victim server with SSH. Okay, so on the top window, we're going to do SSH glitch at the IP address. And the IP address is located over here. And we're going to, when we're asked, we're going to provide this password 321. Okay, we answer yes here. We provide the password 321. And we're now logged in. So we're going to do the same thing with the terminal on the bottom. So over here, SSH glitch at this IP address. And we're going to provide the password 321. Okay. All right. So after we've done this and we see glitch at Wi-Fi on both of these terminals here, we can continue. So we're just going to go back down to where we were before. Okay, on our current SSH session, run the command iwdev. This will show any wireless devices in the configuration that we have available for its use. Okay, so iwdev. Okay, so this is the interface here. It's called WLAN2. It's got an address of this over here. Type managed. All right. So the device interface WLAN2 is available to us, and there are two important details to take away from this output that it will be useful for us. One, the address is the MAC BSSID of the device. BSSID stands for Basic Service Set Identifier, and it's a unique identifier for a wireless device or access point's physical address. So the type is shown as managed. This is a standard mode used by most Wi-Fi devices, laptops and phones, to connect to Wi-Fi networks. In managed mode, the device acts as a client, connecting to an access point to join a network. There's another mode called monitor, which we'll discuss shortly. Now we would like to scan for nearby Wi-Fi networks using our WLAN2 device. We can do this command over here and this command over here. Okay, so let's give the command. So it's going to be sudo iw dev wlan2 scan. The dev WLAN2 is going to specify the wireless device that you want to work with, and scan tells IW to scan the area for available Wi-Fi networks. Okay, so what do we receive over here? So these are the interfaces over here. So it's looking for Wi-Fi networks. So we've got one SSID. It's called malware MAP. All right. There's a lot of information to dissect here, but here are the most important details to indicate that this device is an access point. The BSSID and SSID of the device are this device, this value over here, and malware MAP respectively. Since the SSID is shown, this means the device is advertising a network name, which access points do to allow clients to discover and connect to the network. The presence of an RSN, robust security network, indicates that the network is using WPA2, as RSN is part of the WPA2 standard. WPA2 networks typically use RSN to define the encryption and authentication settings. The group and pairwise ciphers are CCMP, counter mode with cipher blockchain messaging authentication code protocol, CCMP, is the encryption method used by WPA2. The authentication suites available inside of RSN is PSK, indicating that this is a WPA2 personal network, where a shared password is used for authentication. Another important detail is the DS parameter set value, which shows channel 6. The channel, in terms of Wi-Fi, refers to a specific frequency range within the broader Wi-Fi spectrum that allows wireless devices to communicate with each other. There are various Wi-Fi channels, and they all help distribute network traffic across various frequency ranges, which reduces interference. The two most common Wi-Fi channels are 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. In the 2.4 GHz band, channels 1, 6, and 11 are commonly used because they don't overlap, minimizing interference. In the 5 GHz band, there are many more channels available, allowing more networks to coexist without interference. Now would be a good time to discuss another type that we can use on some wireless devices, monitor mode. This is a special mode primarily used for network analysis and security auditing. In this mode, the Wi-Fi interface listens for all wireless traffic on a specific channel, regardless of whether it is directed at the device or not. It passively captures all network traffic within range for analysis without joining a network. If we want to check if our WLAN2 interface can use monitor mode, To achieve this, we will run this command. So let's run the command. It is sudo ip link set dev wlan2 down to turn our device off. Okay. After we do that, we will then switch modes with sudo iw dev wlan2 set type monitor. To change it to monitor mode, then we turn our device back on with sudo IP link set dev wlan to up. Okay, so we powered off our interface, and then we set it to monitor mode, and then we powered our interface back up again. We can confirm that our interface is in monitor mode with this command over here, sudo iw dev wlan to info. Okay, and we say that it's monitor mode because it says type monitor. Now let us create one more SSH session. We want to have two separate terminals in order to see clearly how this attack works. Okay, so we've got the two SSH terminals here. On the first terminal, we'll start by capturing Wi-Fi traffic in the area, specifically targeting the WPA handshake packets. We can do this with the command sudo aerodump ng wlan 2. This command provides a list of nearby Wi-Fi networks, SSIDs, and shows important details like signal strength, channel and encryption type. This information is already known for us from previous commands. Note that by default, aerodump ng will automatically switch the selected wireless interface into monitor mode if the interface supports it. Okay, so at the top over here, let's run the command sudo aerodump ng wlan 2. The output reveals the information we already knew before, such as the BSSID, SSID, and the channel. So we've got the BSSID right here. I don't see an SSID, but maybe that comes later. And the channel? I'm not getting as much information as what is shown here. However, in this particular output, we're also given the channel where our target SSID is listening, channel 6. I don't see this yet. Maybe I can make this, so I'm going to turn this off for a second, and then I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to resize this, and then I'm going to run this again. Okay, now we can see this information here. Great. I just needed to make my interface a little bit smaller. Okay, this command provides a list of nearby Wi-Fi networks. All right. So the output reveals that the information we already knew before. Now we will focus on the malware MAP access point and capture the WPA handshake. This is crucial for the PSK cracking process. First, in the current terminal, let us cancel aerodump ng using Control-C, okay? And then execute the command sudo aerodump ng channel 6 BSSID. Okay. So it's going to be sudo aerodump ng channel 6 -- BSSID. Okay. Did I make a spelling mistake, a typo? BSSID requires an argument. Oh, okay. I didn't complete the command. So we need this information over here. Right. Okay, let me copy this. And then I'm going to put this in the clipboard. And I'm going to paste it in. Okay. Let's give this command. So this command targets the specific network channel and MAC address, BSSID, of the access point for which you want to capture the traffic and save the information to a few files that start with the name output file. These files will be used to crack the PSK. The ultimate goal of this command is to capture the four-way handshake. It will first check for any clients that may have connected to the access point. If a client is already connected, then we can perform a deauthentication attack. Otherwise, for any new client that connects, we will capture the four-way handshake. In this particular scenario, a client is already connected. The output will look the same at first until we receive the information about the connected client, which will be displayed at the bottom of their output. It is important to leave this command running until we are done with the attack. Okay, so we're going to leave this command running. It should take between 1 and 5 minutes before receiving the client information. In our case, it will show like this. So we need to wait for this to show up over here. Lost, frames, notes, and probes. Note that the station section shows the device's BSSID MAC of this right over here that is connected to the access point. This is the connection that we will be attacking. Now we are ready for the next step. So we actually haven't received this information yet. So we have to wait for this. So let's see, the BSSID should be this one over here. So we haven't actually gotten the connection. On the second terminal, we will launch the deauthentication attack. Because the client is already connected, we want to force them to reconnect to the access point. Forcing it to send the handshake packets. We'll break this down into 3 simple steps. So step 1 is the deauthentication packets. The tool aircrack-ng sends the deauthentication packets to either a specific client, a targeted attack, or to all clients connected to an access point, which is a broadcast attack. These packets are essentially disconnect commands that force the client to drop its current Wi-Fi connection. 2, forcing a reconnection. When the client is disconnected, it automatically tries to reconnect to a Wi-Fi network. During this reconnection, the client and access point perform the four-way handshake as part of the reauthentication process. 3, capturing the handshake. This is where airocrack-ng comes into play, because it will capture this handshake as it happens, providing the data needed to attempt the WPA-WPA2 cracking. So we're going to do this with sudo, so we're going to use this command over here, and the 0 flag indicates that we're using the deauthentication attack, and the 1 value is the number of deauths to send. The -A indicates that the BSSID of the access point, and C indicates the BSSID of the client to deauthenticate. So we still haven't received the information from the other BSSID, so I'm not sure if we're supposed to give this command right now, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try this command. And we're going to be doing this from the second terminal over here, this one down below. So first let me resize the windows. And then in the bottom terminal here, I'm going to paste in the command, and I'm going to send this command. Okay, so we sent the deauthentication packets. So let's see. Okay. So we've got something new over here. Now if we look back on our first terminal, we will see the WPA handshake shown on the top right of our output as WPA handshake and this over here. So do we see it? Top right of our output, top right. Okay, so yeah, there it is right there. WPA handshake. All of this information is being saved into our output files. That's great. In the second terminal, we can use the captured WPA handshake to attempt our crack at the WPA2 passphrase. We will be performing a dictionary attack in order to match the passphrase against each entry in the specified word list file. A shortened version of the infamous rocky.txt word list has already been provided for us to use. This is located in the home glitch directory, which is the directory we're in, I think. If the passphrase is weak and appears in the word list, it will eventually be cracked. The command sudo air, so use this command over here. This is going to do it for us. Where the -A2 flag indicates the WPA2 attack mode, and the -B indicates the BSSID of the access point, and the -W flag indicates the dictionary list to use for the attack. Finally, we select the output files that we will be using, which contain the four-way handshake that we will be cracking. Okay, so let's copy the command and use it. Okay, copy it. Then go over to here. Paste in the command, highlight it. And then at the bottom over here, we're going to clear and then paste in the command. Okay, and then we're going to issue the command. So very quickly, it was able to determine what the key was. So the key is fluffy/champ24. Now if you get, okay, so this doesn't apply. So with the PSK, we will now join the malware M AP access point. In a typical engagement, we would do this to inspect the new network, or in some cases, joining the access point is enough to show the impact. First, press Ctrl-C on the terminal that has airocrack-ng running in order to stop the program. Okay, so at the top over here, we're going to Ctrl-C. We do this because we will not be able to join the Wi-Fi network while airocrack-ng is running due to the fact that we are actively using the interface in monitor mode. We will then execute the following commands. Okay, so this command right here is the first one. And at the top, we're going to paste in the command. No, I need to use the control panel again. Okay, so the control panel over here, we need to get rid of this and paste in the other command. Then over here, we're going to paste it in. Okay, so in this command here, we have to put our own PSK over here. So the PSK is fluffy/champ24. Okay, we're going to issue this command now. And then we're going to give the second command, which is this one. Give the second command. Okay, it says successfully initialized WPA supplicant. Cannot get Wi-Fi information. Okay, so if you get a cannot get Wi-Fi information error, you can ignore it. You will also notice that WPA supplicant has automatically switched our WLAN 2 interface into managed mode. Giving it about 10 seconds and checking the wireless interfaces once again with the iwdev command shows that you have joined the malware M AP SSID. Okay, so at the bottom over here, we're going to give the command iwdev, and we see that we are It doesn't look like we are on the malware MAP SSID. Let's try that again. ID dev. Oh, we need to do it from the top one. iwdev. No? Did I? Maybe we need to give this command over here without the single quotes. So let's try that again. So we're going to give this command over here without the single quotes. And then we're going to run the other command. And then we're going to do iwdev. I'm not too sure why. So interface WLAN 2, it should say SSID malware MAP. Not too sure why it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to try some. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try these commands again. So the commands are sudo IP link set dev WLAN 2 down. Let's take the device offline, and then we're going to set this into managed mode again. Device or resource busy. I thought I took it down. Okay, so we're in monitor mode right now. Okay, so WLAN 2 device, we're going to take it down. And then, so this should be down right now. So we're going to iwdev WLAN to set type managed. Device or resource busy. Let's bring the device back up. It's in monitor mode, so it can't join. It can't join a network right now. Okay. Let's try running those commands again. So we already captured the info over here. Okay, so let's try that command again where we do the WPA passphrase. And let's try it with the quotes because the quotes worked for. Let's see what's in the config file. Okay. And then let's run this command here. So when we run this command, it should switch our interface into managed mode. Failed to enable. Okay, so it is in managed mode now. So giving it about 10 seconds and checking the wireless interfaces again with iwdev shows that we have joined the malware AP SSID. So let's check that one more time. Okay, so we're now connected to the malware MAP SSID. That took a little while, but we managed to get there eventually. Great. Okay, the end. McSkitty looked in awe as Glitch flawlessly exposed a weakness in our Wi-Fi network. Glitch ponders and says, "That password is pretty weak, I must say. I wouldn't have been surprised if the mayor had already found a way." McSkitty gets to work right away while Glitch thinks about what is next. Glitch stops and says, "I am ever curious if the mayor knows much about race conditions and how that will affect us." So this is probably some sort of hint that we're going to be dealing with some sort of race condition exploit in the next challenge. So the answers for the questions over here: what is the BSSID of our wireless interface? So our wireless interface we've got a couple of different BSSIDs. So IWDev. So I think it is this one right here. So let me copy that. Okay. What is the SSID and BSSID of the access point? Format BSSID, SSID, BSSID. So the access point is malware APM, malware MAP. I think I can just spell that out instead of copying it. Hold on. So this would be malware M underscore AP, and then comma, and then BSSID. The BSSID is this. That's incorrect. Okay, let's check and see what the. Okay, so it looks like the BSSID is not this one over here. Hmm. So there's some other BSSIDs in here as well. So this is another BSSID. It's essentially the same, except that that the number is 0 instead of 1 or 2. So I could try brute forcing this. So the BSSID, let's try 1. No, let's try 0. Okay, that was the correct answer. I'm not too sure where you would get this answer from, but anyways. What is the BSSID of the wireless interface that is already connected to the access point? So that is already connected to the access point. So is it this one over here, which has the 2? Let me. Okay. Is it this one? Nope. I'm gonna assume that that it could be this one because we've got 0, we've got 2, we've got 0, and we have 2. Maybe it's 1. Okay, that was the correct answer. All right, so what is the PSK after performing the WPA cracking attack? So we managed to get the PSK, which was in the config file here, and it's fluffy/champ24. So that's the answer. Okay. And the last question is, if you enjoyed this task, feel free to check out the networking module. So they've got a link to their other module there. We're going to click on complete. And we are finished. All right, so that took some doing, but we eventually got there. Thank you very much for watching this guided walkthrough of the day 11 challenge for the Advent of Cyber 2024 event from TryHackMe. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.